What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Join Dota League Season 4. This is the last game of the day. We got together, we did it, going up against Union Gaming in a best of 2, which Union Gaming are currently leading 1-0 after, well, quite frankly, smashing together. We did it in the last game. And as it has been for all the previous games, we have different players again, but the casters are the same. I'm Mike Loris. I've got Grandis V here as well, and man, these games have been pretty crazy, but together we did it. They just seem outmatched.
It really does. Honestly, I'm not sure how these changes to the rosters are going to affect the game. But yeah, it feels like that. And maybe even if, like, on a good day, together we did it, could fight up against Union Gaming. Today just doesn't seem to be a good day for them. They've currently gone 0-3, and at least whenever I'm playing Dota and I go 0-3, that next game feels just so nasty if it's on the same day.
Yeah, and it's going to be really, really hard for them to keep on going. And it's not even like they were close games. They just got like absolutely destroyed almost every single time. So they're gonna have to really just pull themselves together. And well, first of all, it's not a good sign that the new player on their team is apparently the best Morgana, and that's some League of Legends. So we're getting to that point, guys. Together we did it. Are scraping the bottom of the barrel for supports. Just kidding, of course, Soji. I don't know anything about you, so I'm not going to insult you like that. But we have ourselves almost a draft. It's going probably the slowest I've ever seen a draft go. In fact, reserve time already being used by Union Gaming before the first pick, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, it usually is. I'm not exactly sure how Union Gaming are going to approach the draft because they haven't had the same approach twice. Every single one of these drafts, they start out with a different first two picks, and there doesn't really seem to be any crazy correlation between them. It just seems like they're just throwing stuff out and seeing if it sticks, and for now it hasn't.
Right, so eventually I'm sure they're going to find something that really does work out for them. But yeah, for Union Gaming, just taking out a couple of strong heroes. Scarith Mage, and actually Razor was left to, I think most of that draft he was untouched, but either way, they're going to take them out right now, and not really any huge counters here. Last time they opened up with the Skyrath and the Legion Commander. I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see them go for the Legion Commander again. Like, together we did it, had all the answers for it, but they just couldn't get them all together. So it's not going to be that. It's going to be the Brewmaster.
Yeah, and Brewmaster is usually a pretty solid way to start out the draft, especially with the Scarith Mage already banned out. One of the better answers to the Brewmaster. For now, together we did are going to go for the Jakiro, which is going to offer them some nice tower pushing potential, as well as just being an all-around solid hero. We'll have to see what else they want to do. Later on, Jakiro can set up onto the Brewmaster with like Yules into Ice Path, but alone can't do the damage. But if you do have some multicast thrown in from the Ogre, which maybe it is going to be there. Ogre, one of the stronger supports in the pool entirely, and so glad that together we did it are going to get their hands on it. Let's see if it's going to work for them.
It's also refreshing to see together we did it just completely change up the strategy with an opening of Jakiro, Ogre Magi. You're going to expect together we did it to be playing super aggressively, trying to take towers, trying to end the game early, and who knows, that might just be the path that they actually need to walk if they're going to beat Union Gaming in this game too. But Union Gaming, they see the Jakiro very early. They're going to know that they're going to have to be on the defensive for some portions of this game. So they will be able to pick around that fact. Try to lock down the Jakiro early on, perhaps, or tailor the bans moving forward to be or to involve the likes of Death Prophet. Just make sure that their towers are standing for as long as they can.
Yeah, for now, Union Gaming eating through a whole heap of their reserve time. I assure you that they're still in this game. Maybe they're AFK or something. I have no idea. Very weird to see them utilize this much reserve time for the second pick. Usually it's pretty clear what you want to pick up at this point, and maybe they have something completely out of the box they want to go for.
I mean, if you win a game like that, sometimes you just gotta choose one of those other strategies, maybe Broodmother or something. But no, it's going to be an Earthshaker, which is fine, but honestly a little bit disappointing. If you use that much reserve time, I'm kind of getting my hopes up for something a little bit special. But Shaker with a stun, as far as counter pushes and support heroes, is going to be pretty nice. So it is two melee heroes, which is a little bit awkward, but it's certainly not impossible to work around.
Definitely. Yeah, not sure exactly why Earthshaker took that long to settle on. I think he's one of the more stable supports. Maybe they're considering what they want to do with the rest of the draft, and Earthshaker was, I don't know, just kind of stalling out to consider like the second phase.
Yeah, that's perfectly reasonable if they want to spend their time doing that. I mean, you could decide what you want to do right now, or you could, wait until you see what the enemies want to do and then decide then, which is probably the better way to go. Picking an Earthshaker over the likes of Tidehunter, not entirely convinced if that's worth it for Union Gaming, as Tidehunter generally, I would say, is more useful than Earthshaker, but who knows. It looks like Union Gaming, they're going to get rid of a lot of that AoE team fight from Together We Did It, whereas Together We Did It, they don't really know what to ban out or in what direction. They're going to take out an Elder Titan and a Centaur, more melee heroes, which is probably going to help Union Gaming more than it's going to hurt them.
Fair enough. We'll just have to see how it pans out for them. Union Gaming, since they picked it up so early and since they took so much time on it, I'm hoping that this is a mid shaker. You can always switch it down to a support if the mid matchup is bad for the shaker if you pick it up this early, but one can always hope. Brewmaster would probably be in the off lane in that situation, which I'm not personally a big fan of. But either way, Core Shaker is always fun to watch. TWI, they're the next one to select their choice of supports, presumably. Maybe they're just going to go for something a little bit different, but that's probably the safest course of action.
Yeah, so pick up a support right now and then, not have to worry about them down the line. Or just go for another flyer. Viper is going to be the pickup for Together We Did It. It is, once again, on the aggressive slant, and it is also going to allow them to have quite a bit of lane control. Ogre Magi and whatever other support Together We Did It want to pick up are going to be able to go into pretty much any lane, and no matter which lane they go to, the hero that was already in that lane will be able to help out quite a bit. So if Together We Did It play this very aggressively, I think that's probably their best way, or the best chances that they have of taking this game away from Union Gaming. Just try to get an early advantage and just never ever let go. Union Gaming, they're going to third pick an Ancient Apparition, which is okay, but it's honestly kind of surprising to see that hero here. Together We Did don't have any heals or anything like that, and Union Gaming don't have any great synergy with the hero either.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting choice. Ancient Apparition, as far as supports that you're going to pick up just for the sake of picking it up, is a pretty good one. Chilling Touch is a wonderful spell at early levels, even though Earthshaker is not the best one to abuse it. Also does offer that stun or to get you in range. So maybe you will get some usage out of the Chilling Touch bonus damage. And then Ice Blast, even if you're not shutting directly down, any healing from the enemy team is always a useful tool to have at your disposal, and Viper might be going for a mechanism. Potentially this pickup is going to make that less attractive.
Alright, so definitely for Together We Did It, they're going to be dissuaded heavily from going into another Necrophos game, which might be the reason, or like the biggest reason for Unity Gaming to pick up the Ancient Apparition is to dissuade Together We Did It from going for these healing type heroes, and it would have actually worked out pretty well for Together We Did It's lineup. Like, even though the last game Necrophos was kind of lukewarm, in this particular game when you're balling up with a Jakiro and a Viper, that extra sustain can be huge. The ability to burst someone down with a multicast and then scythe them straight after is also perfectly reasonable. So I think that's where Union Gaming are coming from here, but for whatever reason, Ancient Apparition, he gets better with ranged heroes, so I expect Union Gaming to focus on said heroes in their upcoming picks. For 2D, though, they only have 5 seconds left, and I'm expecting something amazing. It's a Timber Saw.
It's a pretty decent choice for them. They have some lockdown to deal with them, mostly just the Earthshaker Fissure, though. Cold Feet doesn't really bother Timbersaw that much, and he is up against 2 strength heroes already. It's an interesting choice to be sure, but if you're looking for a hero that has damage, Timbersaw is probably one of the biggest ones, especially if an Aghanim Scepter eventually comes out for him.
You could certainly put the hurt onto these soft support heroes of AA and Shaker, and assuming Union Gaming are a little bit stun light down the line, then Timbersaw is going to be able to run circles around the Union Gaming side. It is also a hero just to get right into the faces of Union Gaming's team and buy a little bit more space for the Viper, buy a little bit more space for the Jakiro to hit the towers or hit heroes or whatever. Union Gaming, they're going to pick up a Morphling as their 4th. This is going to make the Ancient Apparition pick make a little bit more sense, effectively using it as another ban, and Ancient Apparition and Morphling work pretty well with one another. Still, we have yet to see where these drafts are actually going to lead. As Together We Did It, they started off pretty aggressive, but it really is up to the last hero to make the entire draft aggressive.
Yeah, it definitely is. We still have yet to see if this is actually a support or core Jakiro. At least the last couple of picks are going to come out very quickly. Leech Commander last ban from TWDI, and last ban for Union Gaming, whatever it's going to be, is going to be coming out in the next 20 seconds or so. Venge is still in the pool, and that's probably the hero that I would take out because I'm not sure if there's anything better per se for Together We Did It.
Yeah, right now together we did it. They want fast disables, dealing with the Brewmaster and a Morphling. You want to be able to surprise them with, a Fire Blast, which comes out pretty quickly. Ancient Seal comes out really quickly. Rubik would be okay. I mean, stealing Shaker skills, stealing a Split is fantastic. The other skills are kind of average. It seems like Union Gaming think that this Jakiro is going to be played as a support, which is always a tough call to make. He is a hero with a lot of flexibility. Like, you could play him very easily in either role and be fine with it.
Yeah, we'll just have to see. Yeah, TWDI. I'm interested to see what this last pick is for them. It looks like Union Gaming are expecting them to pick up one more core, and that it's just going to be a Jakiro Ogre Magi support. Bloodlust of Terrorblight definitely is pretty scary to go up against, but no matter what it is, it's going to be coming up pretty quickly. It's going to be an anti-mage. Huh, okay, so that just completely changed the dynamic of the game. Screw being aggressive early. It's going to be TWDI. Looking to take this one a little bit later.
Yeah, so it's pretty much going to be Timber, Viper, Ogre, Jakiro holding down the fort when Antimage just split pushes and farms to his heart's content. In that regard, it's still going to be kind of an aggressive lineup for Together We Did It, if you could interpret aggressive as meaning, well, they're going to be just aggressively making space for the Antimage, which is maybe a stretch, but either way, these four heroes are going to be tasked with defending for this game, whereas for Union Gaming, their Morphling is kind of going to be in a similar situation, and then the other four heroes are going to be holding down the fort. So in a late game situation, Morphling versus Antimage, relatively even. Their split push is comparable, I would say. It's going to come down to this laning stage, I think, which is ultimately going to determine how this game flows out. And, of course, when the Blink Daggers come out on the Brewmaster, most likely.
Yeah. Personally, I think that Union Gaming have a slight edge in the draft, mostly because of just the amount of ways that they have to start fights. Batrider and Brewmaster are going to get some fairly early Blink Daggers, or at least should. Laning stage for Brewmaster mid up against the Viper isn't the greatest, but he still should have a decently timed Blink, and then Batrider, if he utilizes the Jungle Wall, should have it pretty quickly. And as the game progresses later, a Blink Earthshaker is also a force to be reckoned with. Together We Did It, they don't have a clean way to start fights on their own terms. Eul Scepter on the Jakiro, maybe a Scythe eventually for Timbersaw, but those aren't the most reliable ways, and they're item dependent.
Yeah, and it would be a little bit more feasible to say that that was initiation if the Jakiro was played as core, which with the Antimage pick, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. So Jakiro is going to be very poor. He's not going to have anything resembling a Eul Scepter, assuming the game goes kind of normally, let's say. The Jakiro is not going to be able to get that up. And aside from that, just walking in for a Timber Chain or a Viper Strike, it's fine. But when the enemy team starts balling up, you really need something more along the lines of a Brewmaster or a Batrider if you actually want to start these fights. I think if Timbersaw was Clockwork, then it will be a little bit better for 2D. Like, it's a similar hero in that he needs to get into the middle of the fight, but he will actually be able to initiate, whereas Timbersaw isn't really the best at it.
Definitely. Well, we'll just have to see how it pans out. But to introduce our Radiant side, Together We Did It, going to be playing in that side of the map. To the offlane, it's going to be Taku playing on the Timbersaw. Mid lane, it is going to be Soji playing on the Viper. Icon going to be playing on the Jakiro. Anti-Mage handled by Noobs R Us, and Ogre Magi by Snoopy.
And for Union Gaming, Benyaz is going to be on the Morphling. On bottom lane, Baka and Jericho are going to be following him as the AA and Shaker. Over towards mid, we have Gabby, Gabby love you, and Tex Kimberly is going to be on the Batrider. I guess it's the customary stand-in swap for the Union Gaming side. They're going to try to set up a trap for Noobs or Us, but the odds of this working are so incredibly small. And Antimage is going to trade a couple hits at the Ancient Apparition, not really going to result into too much. So now Antimage should know that he's up against an offensive tri-lane. And maybe they're going to rotate the Ogre Magi down bottom, knowing that fact. Maybe they're going to keep him up there.
Yeah, even if they rotate the Ogre Magi down towards bottom, I'm not sure how much the Antimage is going to be able to get out of that lane. And it looks like Noobs R Us is just going to make his way up towards top or maybe even mid. Okay, I actually like this move coming out from Together We Did It. Up against the Brewmaster, it's not a great lane for the Antimage to be sure, but it's a whole hell of a lot better than being up against a tri-lane.
Yeah, and just having Mana Break versus any melee hero is going to put Antimage at a decent laning stage. Like, it's, as you said, not the best, but if he drains out all the mana of the Brewmaster, first of all, he's going to be doing a hell of a lot of damage to the Brewmaster, and if he does it well, he'll be able to prevent any damage from being returned to him. So it is typically very greedy to say, okay, we're going to put the Anti-Mage mid and just say it at that, but if you know that the enemy is going to be putting a Brewmaster or a Tide Hunter or any other mid hero or melee hero into the mid lane with your anti-mage, then Noobs R Us should be just fine. Of course, he doesn't have the mana break just yet, has to wait until he knows he's safe, but it's on bottom lane where we know that heroes are not safe. It's going to be Viper to get aggressed upon first. Chilling Touch is so ridiculously balanced, and now Viper, he's stuck in the trees. The jukes, how good are your jukes? Because, well, they're actually pretty good considering UG are all funneling themselves right on top of each other. Viper might actually survive. Morphling needs 6 more mana to waveform forward, but even then, that won't outright kill the Viper. Needs a couple more hits. Waveform. Waveform. There it is. Is it going to land, however? That's a different question entirely. Waveform will hit, and that's going to be first blood. It took a long time, but they got it in the end.
Yeah, I think Union Gaming kind of out-juked themselves inside here. They were looking for some cute little tree spots when he just went like the natural path that's actually already there about there. So yeah, Viper survives for a lot longer than they thought he would. It's going to pull Morphling away from the first wave, but then again, Viper wasn't farming throughout all of that. So it's still advantage towards Union Gaming. If you can secure first blood for your carry, a creep or two missed here or there is not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, it's not going to be a terribly huge deal, and you really have to respect this damage potential of the UG side. Of course, Morphling no longer does have any more mana for waveform, and that extra magic damage was absolutely crucial at getting that kill. So UG have to wait quite a long time before they could go aggressive again. And all the while, Viper's going to be farming, but still UG, they're kind of doing their job. They have to try to keep the Viper a little bit more off the lane, but that's going to be a little more difficult. I would say 2D's defensive tri-lane is a lot stronger than UG's offensive tri-lane, so even though they did end up giving first blood, the Radiant should have a better tri-lane in this situation, and well, that's about how that should go. And over towards mid, Gabby is going to adjust the Brewmaster build just a little bit. Going for more points in the Drunken Brawler is what you have to do if you're up against an anti-mage. If you're not going to have any mana, you might as well get your passive.
Yeah, I suppose so. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think still going for Thunderclap is better, or maybe just 1 point to Drunken Haze to be annoying for AM since he has no other way to clear creeps. Then his right clicks, you'll probably have 50 mana to spam that out every once in a while. It's going to go aggressively. Noobs R Us has the blink, and he won't die, but he's not going to be looking too great either, as he's forced to use his Sal.
And then up towards top, Batrider going toe-to-toe with the Timbersaw. Timbersaw is going to have the time of his life up here. I mean, he already has the magic stick, and if you give Timbersaw extra mana, that's never really a good idea. So Taku, he's not been having a very great day in his games, but now up against the Batrider, this matchup should be fantastic for the Timbersaw. There's not much that the Batrider can do except for just trying to get a couple last hits. The kill potential is not really there because of Timber Chain, whereas for the... oh, man, I missed a kill. Whereas for the Timbersaw, it is definitely possible for him to kill at the bat.
Well, again, it's going to be just that Fissure and Chilling Touch damage. Pretty easy kill to secure on the Jakiro. All he wanted to do was pull, but that's going to be denied from him as he's sent back to the grave. And even though, in theory, their tri-lane's a little bit weaker, just because of the kills that they've gotten, I think that's pretty much been made up for, or at the very least, their tri-lane's a success, even though it might not outright be so. If the anti-mage is here, I say it's stronger for Union Gaming, but yeah, with Viper as the farming core, he's still not shut down by this. 12-4 compared to the 9-3 of Morphling. Even though Benyaz has gotten the first blood, he needs to start picking up the farming rate, and that's pretty hard to do on a Morph.
Alright, so Morphling is, going to be struggling down towards bottom. Of course, getting kills is going to be the best case scenario for him. Looks like there was a haste rune denied down towards bottom, so unfortunately, no help there. This is what happens when you lane an offensive tri-lane Morphling. He either gets a lot of kills and does okay, or he just doesn't. And well, it's kind of in the middle ground where he's getting kills, but he's still not doing the best. I think this is good enough for UG, assuming the Batrider's doing well, but that's not the case. They're going to try to go for Taku. That's not going to be the case either. Shaker with only a Fissure and an Enchant Totem, not nearly enough to kill off this Timbersaw. In fact, I don't know if UG can kill off this Timbersaw without bringing in a Splitting Panda.
I'm actually curious as to why the Earthshaker went for Enchant Totem level 2.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me at all.
It doesn't really do anything, and well, Tex on the top lane is going to be brought down by the Timbersaw. Easy peasy for him. Chakram already up from the Timber. Yeah, Enchant Totem level 1 with no Aftershock is actually just terrible, so that probably shouldn't be a thing.
Oh, he's going to be burned down by the Jakiro as 2D do find a little bit of something down in bottom. They do quite a bit of damage with all of their heroes, like just being able to catch him out with the Ignite to the Ice Path seems to be enough. It's 2-2 across the board. TWGI, their Timbersaw needs to be carrying a whole lot of weight. He's going to go aggressively up against Tex again, but getting the kill this time around is going to be a lot harder for him. Yeah.
There are just a lot fewer trees there. Like if there was a full forest there, then Timbersaw would be able to do this a lot more easily. But now he's going to get lassoed back with 5 stacks of tar. He has a timber chain outwards, but will that give him enough distance? It won't. Tex is going to get a return kill up towards top. In the meantime, mid lane, a little bit of aggressive play, but no, it's Batrider just taking a kill on that top lane just because he got 5 stacks of napalm. And I don't care who you are, that is just way too much damage to be facing up against.
Yeah, it definitely is. Sort of a side anecdote. As a Batrider in this matchup, maybe clearing out like the trees over here would be a decent idea.
That actually would be pretty good. Of course, you don't want to use your Firefly like that, and he's just going to wait until these trees respawn again to do that, but getting rid of those trees will actually make him completely safe. Like, there's no chance Antimage is going to be ganking you. Your only threat is a Timbersaw, and he has no mobility. He has no damage if you just clear those trees. Or, you know, maybe he will still have damage if you're down here, but that is actually a really nice decision, I would say, for the Batrider if he does get to it. But in the meantime, Jericho is going to be popped by the Antimage in the river area. Benya is also caught with the Ice Path. Here comes the Brewmaster. He has a split clap, will be enough to kill off this Viper or Icon. Looks like they want to go for the Viper, and they will get him. Also, Icon going to try to TP out. Cyclone is going to deny that. He's going to fall right into a whole hell of a lot of enemies. And, well, Icon's going to Ice Path 2 of them. That's not going to be enough. He's going to go down, making it a 2-for-0 in the 2-for-1 rather in the southern river area.
Yeah. Even though Union Gaming are getting the edge when it comes to these kills, they're not farming incredibly great on any of their cores, especially the Morphling is falling pretty hard or far behind, and 2D, they're getting a decent amount out of it just based on how these lanes in theory are supposed to be going. Antimage is still getting some farm where he probably shouldn't be. 31-4 compared to 39-11 is admirable given this laning situation for Noobs RS. Timbersaw's having a great time up towards top, except dying that one time, probably not ideal. He does have level 8 as well as Soul Ring and the Arcane Boots online. Timbersaw can make a lot of things happen around the map, and I'd like to see Taku attempt to do that. Blink away in the mid will keep Antimage safe from the Thunderclap coming up from Brewmaster. Did use the split previously. I didn't actually see how that went down. I assume it was just in the fight in mid.
Yeah, it was to kill off the river heroes, so they end up using the split for that, and that was fine. Noobs R Us is actually going for a pretty peculiar anti-mage build. You know, as far as anti-mages go, this build isn't too out of the ordinary. This is the quote-unquote burning build. You get a whole bunch of stats, you bulk up a little bit. I don't know what the standard build is for mid lane anti-mage, but I'm inclined to think up against Brewmaster, you want more points in mana break.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm okay with him going for this. I think the thing that I'd be curious about him going for would be like a Maelstrom. I'd love to see it on Anti-Mage. I think it's a pretty legit item to go for, just depending on whether or not you're able to get it. I think it scales better late game, just with the attack speed on Anti-Mage than the Battle Fury, and just comes online a lot quicker. I don't think he's going to go for this. I think it's just treads into Battle Fury, but either way.
Yeah, I want to see that too, mostly because I haven't seen it before, and if you're going to be going aggressive with Anti-Mage, I guess that's the way you go, but at the same time, Anti-Mage was last picked, so you know, just the way that draft flowed, it's unlikely that is going to be the case, as heartbreaking as it is for me to say that. They are setting up for a top lane, potentially. Snoopy's just chilling, then again, so is Baka. Taku's going to go aggressive once again onto Benyez, and this is a lot of damage that the Morphling, quite frankly, can't, you know, deal with versus this Timbersaw. There's no return damage here. There's no counter harassment. Maybe they'll be able to get a return kill with this Batrider, and Snoopy's going to see the Batrider coming, and now he's going to book it. However, it's going to be a trap. Taku's going to annihilate Baka first thing. Now he's going to get dragged back by Tex, but I don't think that's quite going to be enough. Fisher's going to connect on 2, and he will be frozen into place by the Cold Feet, and they will obliterate the Timbersaw, making a 1-for-1 trade. That chain stun was pretty much perfect by UG, and if they didn't chain stun him that well, he would have gotten away. Noobs R Us going to give chase for Jericho. This Earthshaker doesn't have that much mana, but he will not be aggressive upon enough to die. It looks like that should be the end of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I thought that would have gone a lot worse for Union Gaming, but now up on Snoopy, they are going to find one stack of the Napalm. Fissure Block going to be perfect. Flame Break going to bounce him even further into the Firefly. Snoopy's going to fall one way or another. The waveform completely misses. He's going to salve up a little bit, looking for the turn. Turn rate just doesn't work with you when you're sticky Napalmed up. And it's going to be a killing spree for Benyaz, an 8-4 in the kill score.
At the exact same time, there was a split happening down towards bottom lane where Gabby was able to solo kill the Viper with no Blink Dagger. I believe he picked up the Blink Dagger right after he used that split. So either way, Brewmaster now has that Blink Dagger up and showing that he's capable of killing off the Viper, who has gone for the most defensive build you could really go for as the hero. And well, even with that, the split damage is just a little bit too high. So Brewmaster is certainly a devastating force. Morphling is getting to a point where he's going to be one of the more deadly heroes on the map. Of course, he's not farming the fastest. In fact, he's relatively low on the CS chart as far as heroes who have CS. He's on the bottom. So Morphling's gonna need a lot of creeps in order to recover from this, but if he keeps farming heroes, it's still pretty good for him. At least he's getting something.
Yeah, Baka going to be tagged by an Ice Path as well as Liquid Fire. It's just going to be some casual harass into the Ancient Apparition. As for Noob's harass, okay, so he's pulling up quite a lot of gold after going for that Gloves of Haste, and I was potentially thinking he was going for a Midas or maybe even the Maelstrom, I don't know. It looks like he's just going to back off into the Battle Fury build, however. He gets a Ring of Health. It's flying out to him on the courier now.
Alright, so it looks like everything is going to be more or less normal for Noobs R Us in this particular game. Just Antimage going to be doing Antimage stuff, whereas Viper, well, is still farming the lane. I think it's probably a better decision to let the Antimage have that one. Although, mid lane, I guess it's also nice to have Icon get a little bit of experience. Level 5 Jakiro is pretty much all you need if you're going to be pushing towers, and it doesn't even seem like 2D are going to look to do that anytime soon. It's going to be Timbersaw up towards top. It's going to be aggressive towards Benyez. He has to be so careful, though. A single TP, and all of a sudden, UG can collapse on this Timbersaw so very easily. Taku, oh man, this is a delicate dance for sure. Chakram's going to land, and Gabby's going to get his kill in the meantime. Just obliterates Jakiro, but the teleportation up towards top did happen. Jericho will land a perfect vision block, but Taku has a Timber Chain outwards. So that waveform was not going to land ever. Ancient Apparition is also going to get a kill over towards mid, making it a 1-for-1 mid, and no kills on top. I chose poorly.
Definitely. Yeah, the Enchant Totem, timing that to stun a Timber Chaining Timbersaw is almost impossible, as you can probably just cancel the animation for Timber Chain before Earthshaker is actually able to get off that stun. It's really telegraphed what both of those heroes are going to do, but it's more telegraphed for the Earthshaker. Probably one of the hardest things about the hero. There's double damage rune on the Brewmaster, and they'll use it to get a kill onto the poor Viper. Timber Chain across. He's going to be cycled up in the air. They do have a Purge to bring him back down. They have another Boulder Toss cooling down. They'll throw it to Taku, but he's under the tower, and the Brewlings have already taken quite a bit of damage and are about to time out. Taku going Timber Chain over the top of them. Brewmaster back to his normal form, and now eating too much damage to the miss is going to save his life for a little bit, but the Timber Chain is going to end it. Ancient Apparition Blast coming through the top. Only going to land on the Icon, but does drop the debuff onto Snoopy. For now, that's going to be all she wrote.
It was a 1-for-1 trade going either way. As far as who got those kills, Batrider and Timbersaw going to be the winners of that lottery. And, well, Timbersaw certainly showing how a Timbersaw should be played right now. This is, pre-20 minutes. This is the Timbersaw's playground. He's by far doing the most damage on anyone in this game, and that's exactly what you should be doing as a Timbersaw. Down towards bottom, Tex is going to be Viper struck up. Nothing to interrupt this. No, an Ice Path just catching him. That was like 0.1 seconds until that teleportation actually went off, and Batrider's going to end up going down to a Jakiro down towards bottom. I don't really know why he was trying to kill off a Viper without lasso. Seems like a really bad idea to me.
Yeah, I don't really see that working in most situations, especially if backups involved. Blink from the Brewmaster is going to meet up with some friends in mid. He might be swinging down towards bottom. There is nothing flying out to the Earthshaker immediately. He's going to be getting those arcane boots. I was thinking maybe they'd get a smoke. They're going to get a long Fisher onto Snoopy. And now with the clap as well as guaranteed crit, Ancient Apparition Ice Blast flying through. He's going to turn for the Fire Blast onto Jericho inside the Macfire. Earthshaker's not looking too great, and he is going to be burned down pretty low. Miss onto Gabby coming out from the Viper as he pursues continuously onto Icon. Clap, one crit, and now looking for a little bit more damage. The Morphlings here, if he wants to steal that kill, is going to get the AoE gold, but nothing else, as Gabby does secure the double. Timbersaw is going to be able to return here, does get a Chakram into Gabby. Timber Chain across, doing quite a bit of damage. Misses on the auto attack, a miss again from the Viper, but now he's going to start hitting into him, but the Whirling Death just rips him apart with that pure damage, doing 250 plus the reduced strength. Can't really survive very long up against that.
That's exactly the fight you don't want to take up against the Timbersaw. Being caught in your jungle like that, he probably would have just been fine if he just ran straight, or more fine if he just ran straight. Ended up running into the Viper, and between the slows and the burst damage of the Timbersaw, no way you can escape that as a Brewmaster. His blink out was his only shot, and, well, once the poison hit, it was all over for him. Still, UG get 2 kills, and they only give up 1. Not exactly the best heroes to kill off. The ones that actually did fall, as it was killing off the Jakiro, was killing off the Ogre Magi, but they're also maybe going to get one more down towards bottom. They're going to flame break him right into that Ice Blast. It's going to be a clean kill on the Viper. At the same time, Morphling's going to kill off the Timbersaw up towards top. I don't know how that one happened, but that really shouldn't have happened. Tex on the bottom lane is going to pop out the Antimage, making it a 2-for-1 in the end. Tex staying around for a little bit too long, but here comes Gabby. Has a split, and he's going to use it right onto Snoopy. Everyone else is going to leave this Ogre Magi for dead, which is the correct decision from 2D. The only question is, can Icon survive? Looks like the Storm is not going to give chase, and they will just instead take this tower, making it 3-for-1 in total.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I expect that top kill just was Echo Slam interrupting the chain coming out from the Timber Saw, and they did have to commit everything for it. He's going to throw out another Fissure, lands onto Soji, and they'll start right-clicking into him, but Viper is going to be just fine. And, well, it's going to be pretty much it. The Radiant structures are fortified for the push down in bottom. They're going to lose another tier 1 tower there.
And 2 towers down for 2D, and they're 5 kills behind. They're certainly putting up much more of a fight than last game. However, it still feels like UG are just 100% in control of this game. The Brewmaster, pretty much always fighting whenever he has splits online, and it feels like he has a reduced cooldown of that ultimate or something, because he always seems to be available with that split. And this is, if nothing else, just buying more and more time for Benyaz to farm up. He's still farming relatively slowly. He's very far behind the anti-mage, and he's pretty decently behind everyone else as well. But 4-0-2 in the Morphling really can't complain about where he's at right now, because he's getting so much space from his allies, and he's about to get a little bit more. Icon is completely screwed here. He's going to throw an Ice Path. Timbersaw's in the area, but Timbersaw versus 3 is a little bit too much for him.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty clean kill onto the Jakiro. Urn of Shadows picked up by Baka on the Ancient Apparition. Not even close to getting towards an Aghanim Scepter, and that's not going to be coming out for quite some time. Anti-Mage still sans Battle Fury, and is going to be man fighting up against Benyaz. Wait for him over the top and blink out. Anti-Mage is going to be able to get out of there just fine. Battle Fury is flying out to him on the courier. He'll be able to make it all the way back to base. So we have pause. Very interesting. Jakiro is pinging out exactly where the Bow Rider is. I'm not sure if they have ward vision on him now.
I think this little bit of vision, I can't draw here, but if you look on the minimap, you could see it, just the edge, the very edge of that observer ward might have spotted Tex coming in. Either that, or he just walked by the one in the bottom river, which is probably more likely.
I think that is more likely. They should know that he's there at the very least. They have good ward coverage around this area, and I don't think anybody's going to get caught out here. Brewmaster does have his split, but it's cooling down for 15 seconds. They can't go immediately. Honestly, I'm not sure what the plan is for Tex.
Well, Tex has been playing this kind of a fast and loose Batrider, so he might just YOLO dive in towards mid and end up getting punished. Or 2D are going to converge on this Batrider because they know where he is, and Batrider doesn't know where everyone else is. It's going to be an Ice Blast. They're going to try to set up for mid. Tex is going to fly, but nothing's going to happen, so nothing's going to happen. Okay.
Yeah. That's going to be it. Antimage is going to start farming up an absolute storm, and he's doing pretty well at it. 105 CS at this point. Getting 3 kills, you can't really ask for much more, but since the Morphling's been involved in 6 and got the last hit on 4, including the first split, Benyaz is topping him in the net worth chart. It looks like Morphling's going to be going for a Manta style this game, just looking to fight as much as possible. At the very least, he has the Yasha, which is pretty good for this point in the game if you are going to be fighting with Morphling. They'll go behind the tower. They're going to be able to bring down Texas. He's stunned up by the Orc Magi. Now the split, they're going to go into Soji with the Boulder Toss, and the Brewling should be enough damage, although they're Ice Path up. The H Person Ice Blast, if nothing else, will bring him down. Brewmaster does get that last hit. Timber Chain over the top, coming out from the Timber Saw, and now is in a heap of trouble. Is chilling or Ice Blasted up, and they should be able to bring him down. In the meantime, the ultimate coming up from the Anti-Mage going to be enough to bring down the Earthshaker, and Benyaz being pursued. Blink forward, 2 more auto attacks. It's going to secure a double kill for Noob Zaras, and a disaster all said and done for UG. The Brewmaster doesn't even secure that Timber Saw kill.
Man, that's a 3-for-1 in favor of 2D. That's what happens when you have a Batrider that doesn't get initiation off. In fact, he got initiated upon pretty much, so he was down before that fight even got going. Earthshaker's easy pickings for the likes of 2D, and it's once again UG. They're fighting in the playground of the Timbersaw. Look at how many trees are here. I mean, the Timbersaw has so many angles to do damage, and even though you have a split, you're not invulnerable. They're going to get a return kill onto Icon over in the mid lane, so I guess that's kind of nice for the UG side, but man, that's a really expensive set of kills they gave away, mostly because Antimage was the one to collect them. He's now on his way to his Yasha, his Power Tread's already on his person. And UG, their Morphling is farming decently, but certainly not well enough, especially after dying over in mid. Now they might lose Gabby as well. Chakram, Whirling Death, well, there's one, and it's going to land Timber Chain forward, and Gabby is fighting to the death because he should, but he is going to go down regardless, although he's got, so many misses there. Drunken Brawler and Haze helping him out a little bit, but certainly not enough. It's going to be yet another kill for 2D, and, well, they're just buying more and more space for Noobs R Us. This is going to be an Anti-Mage game. He is going to be hitting full Anti-Mage, I predict.
Well, Taku is going to be lasted up in mid. Echo's Slam with full creep wave. He's going to be brought down very easily. Even though he gets the Timber Chain off, it is his death. And that's just after picking up the Bloodstone. Even though he was involved in that one kill, it's now down to 6 charges, which isn't the greatest of situations to be in the Timber Saw. Right now, it's not awful, but if he dies once or twice more, could be in big trouble. Noobs Rust going to blink TP out there after putting some pressure on a tier 1 tower. Lucky enough for him, it's not in deny range, 4 HP away from that. So they will still have that gold available if they ever make it back to that tier 1.
Right, and killing off the Timber Saw is going to be really difficult for UG unless they get pretty much the exact same thing to happen again. It is going to be a lot easier once Jericho picks up his Blink Dagger, and he's not too far away from that. But at the rate Earthshaker is actually accruing gold, it's going to be very slowly being built into that Blink Dagger, so he might just not hit the Blink Dagger at all, who knows. It's mid lane where the 2D side is going to apply their pressure. They have maxed out Liquid Fire, and this tower is inevitably going to fall. But it's not going to fall without a fight. UG, they're going to fire off an Ice Blast, which somehow missed Icon and Snoopy. It seemed like that was going to hit, but it is going to be defended, and tower is going to be denied.
Yeah, and yeah, 2D would love any amount of gold that they can get, but then again, it's not necessary. Anti-Mage is still farming away. Timbersaw is pushing a tier 1 tower up towards top, and they should be able to get that one pretty easily. Right now, it's a group up from Union Gaming as they go into the Roshan pit. There is no Radiant Vision immediately around this Roche pit, although I'm not sure if they've gone on a dewarding mission very recently. It looks like they haven't, so it's a pretty risky move coming up from Union Gaming, but it looks like it's going to go unpunished. It's not the fastest of Roshans, but it's pretty reliable. Taking with the Replicate with the mischance of Drunken Haze, you can pretty much do this indefinitely. That Brewmaster Replicate's taking hardly any damage at all.
But they might end up getting caught in a fight. Tex, as a lasso, is going to bring the Viper up to the high ground, it seems. If not, just outright kill him, and they will. Brewmaster is also in the split up. Benyas is being focused in the backline, waveformed way too deep. Timbersaw is going to Timber Chain up to the high ground, and Snoopy is going to be the one to take the focus from the Brewmaster now. Baka with a Chilling Touch damage is going to kill off Snoopy. No, not quite. 15 HP, might die to the Urn Charge, and it looks like he will. That's going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of UG. Taku now going to be stunned up. Icon looking for initiation onto Gabby, but still Tex up on the high ground. And Roshan, 1,000 HP away from death, and Tex unable to get down there in time. Noobs should be able to claim this one for the team, and he will grab the Age of the Immortal. Here comes the rest of the heroes, though. Fissure is going to connect onto 3, but Tex gets hit with the Mana Void, and he will be going down. Gabby and Jericho have got to just book it at this point, though the Ancient Apparition has his Ice Blast. They cannot compete against Noobs with an Aegis. Taku's going to jump right forward into an Echo Slam. He will be going down here. That will shatter him in the end, but Gabby is taking a lot of damage. He will be going down in the trade. Jericho is also being focused down by Noobs, making a double kill for the Anti-Mage, looking to make it triple. Baka has no mana, no TP. He has no hope. That's going to be a clean sweep for 2D. Plus they get the Aegis steal. That was a huge fight for 2D.
Yeah, it wasn't even stolen Aegis, was it? I believe it was just completely taken by 2D. They get the Roshan kill on top of that. Batrider blinked in looking for the steal, but in the end he was so low on mana that Anti-Mage just like voids him and he's completely gone after that. Tier 1 tower down bottom is going to fall. They have a Timbersaw now with Blink Dagger and 6 Bloodstone charges. Even after dying another time, that's completely fine for this Timbersaw. Not sure if I'm entirely on board with the Blink choice for Timber. I think just going for a BKB probably would have been a little bit better, but either way, his positioning should be up there. Anti-Mage now with the Mantis Cell is going to be hitting pretty darn hard. Point booster for the Viper. The items are coming out for 2D after that wonderful fight in favor of their team.
Yeah, Blink Dagger, BKB, I think both of them are going to be picked up for Taku. As for sequencing, you know, obviously you want to pick up your BKB as late as possible. That might be playing a little bit of a role in his decision in item purchases, but yeah, I think BKB is a necessity in this game. Even though you will be locked down still by the Batrider, if you could block any sort of magical damage from UG, that will be huge. So I would like to see the Timbersaw head on towards that item, but being able to guarantee some damage with the Blink Dagger, not too terrible either. As far as other items are concerned on the 2D side, we have a Mantis Style in production for the Anti-Mage. Pretty much a whole Battle Fury up ahead of the Morphling, which is it's pretty good. And he's farming up a Storm 702, 175 CS, 50 CS over said Morphling. Viper is wielding the mech, is going to go for his Aghanim Scepter next. And for UG, I mean, they're getting some okay items up as well. There's a Vlad's up on Brewmaster. There's Aghanim Scepter incoming on the AA. That's actually going to be the most relevant item, I think, for UG in the upcoming minutes of this game.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. This Anti-Mage, even though he didn't start out doing very well in the early laning stage, mid up against the Brewmaster, has completely caught up, and honestly wasn't really behind to begin with. Up in top, potentially looking for a jump. They have the Timbersaw, Blink Dagger cooling down in 1 second. I believe they're just going to fall back out of here, and indeed they will. Antimage will go back to farming, and with the Bloodlust as well as the double damage from Nudes RS is incredibly scary. They're going to Blink Lasso. They found a Timbersaw. Ancient Apparition Ice Blast flying through. They're going to Flame Break it back into it, and that's going to be the end of Timber's life. Although we'll be back here pretty quick. Probably not the best of ideas to be standing there. He didn't know where the enemy team was, or at least if he did, he just got a little too cocky. They did have a ward there. Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure why he was sticking around.
Yeah, I mean, it turns out that Batrider with Haste Rune is actually the most scary hero in Dota ever, so there's not much you could do about that, even if he did see it coming. He could Timber Chain, he could Blink, but you can run, you can't really hide from the Batrider, so I'm pretty sure his demise was ensured at that point. Regardless, it's still going to be a kill going the way of UG, and we see Antimage diving deep, going to go for Jericho. Baits out the Echo Slam, yet taking pretty much no damage for it. Even if he does go down here, this is what Aegis is for. Also, the Brewmaster getting blocked by the Fissure. Kind of unplanned there, but Gabby's going to jump in for Snoopy. This will be the death of the Ogre Magi. Antimage is going to get chilled as well, though he does still have the Aegis, and he does have backup coming in the form of the Viper and the Jakiro. You're going to try to go for that Brewmaster. However, the Ice Pass is going to do next to nothing. He does get the split off. Taku is in the middle of the fray as well, but the Viper's taking way too much damage right now. Where's Antimage? He needs to rejoin the fight, but he just can't get close enough because of the Brewmaster. The Timbersaw is going to pick off one in the back end, but it looks like that's going to be just about it. No, Antimage wants back in. Fissure's going to slow him down, but not before the Morphling dies. Noobs Are Us still has the Aegis, and he's going to use it right now. Taku's at full HP, and he's going to be going for whoever he could find. It looks like who he is going to find is going to be Jericho. The Timbersaw might be running a little bit low on mana, but the Earthshaker's running low on life, so that's an even trade there. Taku's going to get a triple kill, now looking to make it 4. He's going to give chase to Gabby. The jukes from the Brewmaster, I mean, he's not taking much damage from the Timbersaw, but he's also not escaping the Timbersaw either. Ice Blast is going to come in, and Gabby is going to have a blink out, and it looks like 2D are unwilling to give chase. Yet still, it's going to be the Antimage and Timbersaw winning that fight for 2D, and they're also going to look to take a tier 2 tower off of this. These are the two heroes for 2D. Like, this is what they're planning on.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Right now, Timbersaw, it is going to be a Shiva's guard for him. I'm not a huge fan of this choice from Taku, but it doesn't seem that he is really needed the BKB, and the times that he's died, a BKB wouldn't help him. Usually it starts out with like a Blink Lasso, and then he's brought down in the duration of that Lasso before he could have gotten anything off. And I don't know, for the most part, he's been running the fights. Antimage, he probably shouldn't have blinked out so far. And the first time they went on him, he was like here, and then he goes for like a full blink like over this direction, where the rest of his team's coming down from the south into the enemy team. So Jakiro and Viper, their deaths probably could have been avoided if Antimage was a little bit closer. Even though he was low, he would have lost the Aegis and then been able to fight a little bit more. But either way, AM's still richer than anything. My goodness, he's at like 15,000 net worth at less than 30 minutes in, has 3,600 gold about in the bank. Could go for anything if he wanted to, and if he goes for Heart, he's unstoppable. Honestly, if he goes for anything, he's unstoppable. Now with an Invis Rune, he's probably going to kill off Baka. Baka was slightly blocked here, so I'm not sure if he knows this is going on. Let's see how good his game sense is.
Well, I mean, it's an Ancient Apparition being stalked by an Antimage. Even if he knew exactly what was going on, I don't think he would have much chance here. And, yeah. I mean, there's not much you could do there if you're an Ancient Apparition. You could try to TP out, but then you just get mana voided, and then you just die. Unless, did they remove the... No, they still have the mini-stun. Okay, something else got removed in the mini-stun, but that's going to be the death of the Ancient Apparition. Really, really easily done by the Antimage, and he's getting to that Antimage point. He's at 4,300 gold. He could go for literally whatever item he wants, although I think a Heart is probably going to be his best bet. There's actually not that much damage coming out from UG. Morphling's physical is really limited, especially when you compare him to the Antimage. It's kind of pitiful. It's going to be Text to be chased down by Taku. Gets flame broken down to the low ground. That might buy the Batrider a free passage out, and it looks like it will. That was a pretty nice flame break, and that is going to buy time for the bottom lane to be pushing, but it's not pushing aggressively enough. In the meantime, Benyaz waveforms aggressively, makes a replicate out of the Viper, will jump to that. Gabby's going to be calling the Ice Path. He does have a split right now, and it looks like he's going to have to use it, and he will. All the way out of mana at half HP as well. He's going to try to go for Noobs R Us, but that's not going to work either. Here comes the Ice Blast. Looks like it might land on the Antimage. No, it's only going to land on the Viper. Nice Echo Slam for Jericho. Going to catch 3, but I just fear they don't have enough follow-up after this. Viper is still alive after that entire combination. Everyone is, in fact, alive. The Viper is going to be the first one to fall. Ends up shattering to the Earthshaker. But here comes Taku one more time. He's going to annihilate Jericho. Now going to go straight for that Ancient Apparition. There's no lasso just yet from the Batrider, and even if he uses it, it might be too late. He gets Fire Blasted, and Taku's still going to survive this for a little while longer. Mana Void is going to clean everyone up as Noobs collects an instant double kill. Now into Benyes, who's completely tapped out of mana. The Timbersaw actually managed to escape out of that situation as well. That's going to be 4 for 1 rather, in favor of 2D, plus a tier 2 tower, plus Timbersaw gets to live and collect all those Bloodstone charges. A massive win for 2D.
Yeah, there's plenty of targets to look for that Mana Void, and every time Anti-Mage connects on that, the AoE on that is pretty darn ridiculous. After 2 consecutive buffs, if I'm not mistaken, now 500 radius on that, it pretty much hits everybody if you're inside a fight. So yeah, completely cleaned up 2 kills. He's going to go for the tier 3 tower in mid as Timbersaw, Ogre Magi, and Jakiro go for the tier 3 tower up towards top. He's going to be forced out by the Brewmaster, but a blink and a blink will get him up towards top. They're going to Fissure block off Snoopy and stun onto Icon, but that actually doesn't matter much. They jump in with the Shiva's guard on Taku. He's going to be stunned mid Timber Chain by an Earthshaker, but it doesn't matter. He's going to survive at least for now, but not if an HF version Ice Blast lands. Going to connect on the nothing. Very unfortunate for them. Timbersaw looking to escape from the Batrider, going to get the lasso, is disjointed, or rather, not disjointed, canceled by that Fissure, and they'll be able to find 1 kill, and they don't lose much more than those 2-3 towers. Honestly, that could have gone worse if everybody was focusing on the same lane.
Yeah, it's only a tier 3 tower being lost by UG, so they're still kicking in this game. However, their Morphling is just not where he wants to be, especially when you compare him to an Antimage 7,000 net worth behind. And he's going for a BKB. Benyes, it's pretty much the item that you want to be going for as a Morphling. Or, I mean, you don't want to be going for as a Morphling. That's the desperation item. You want to be going for an Ethereal Blade or a Butterfly or bigger ticket items that help you, you know, just get to that full scary 6-slot status. Even though Antimage has gone for one himself, Antimage is powerful enough now that he has a Basher as well. This is just so scary for this Morphling. He needs, you know, 5,000 more gold to spend.
Yeah, 2D with Bloodlust attack speed, Mantis style, he is going to be bashing people so darn quickly. The base attack time on Anti-Mage is pretty ridiculous, and their mana is going to be gone in no time flat, setting up for some really sick mana voids. Noobs R Us is pretty much unstoppable at this point. He's a full 2 items ahead of this Morphling, and those 2 items being the Battle Fury as well as the Basher, and that's incredibly scary.
So I think, again, the biggest and best hope for UG is to get initiation on the Antimage and kill him off using the AA ultimate, because that is Aghanimed, that should be level 2, and it is level 2. If they get that to land, then that's going to be their biggest chance. They're going to find Icon very swiftly. Well, not that swiftly, but they will kill off this Jakiro. His death is guaranteed. That's 1 kill going the way of UG, and it looks like they're going to just fall back after that. Roshan is going to be respawning very, very shortly, and it looks like UG want to contest it. They have a Batrider, and that's going to make him pretty much the king of the Rosh Pit. And even if 2D want to go for that Roshan, they're going to be constantly bombarded by Ice Blasts. So it's pretty much impossible for 2D to get Roshan without taking a team fight first.
Yeah, and I don't think that's going to really stop them from taking it, but they'll probably look to push before they get Aegis, and I think they're strong enough to where they can. 10 seconds on the BKB on Anti-Mage. Even if they lasso him up, focusing down the Anti-Mage if he gets the BKB off first is almost impossible. And even if he doesn't, 1800 HP with a maxed out spell shield is really hard for them to deal with. Union Gaming's physical damage is pretty lackluster. Morphling's hitting for about 200 a hit, but at 33 minutes in the game, your Morphling should be hitting harder. Even if he has the illusions out, doesn't really matter much. Brewmaster is probably their scariest right-clicking hero if he gets that guaranteed crit in, just with the Assault Cuirass extra attack speed, but honestly, it's not enough to deal with AM.
And 2D, they're just going to sit back and just farm up with this Anti-Mage. This might actually be a mistake from them. I mean, you have such a stacked Anti-Mage. Yes, he's going to get a little bit stronger, but Morphling has a lot more room to grow. And there's a tier 2 tower down towards bottom, and you have a Timbersaw on your team. I think it should be 2D looking to take this tier 2 tower before the Morphling gets, you know, that extra item that might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. So 2D, they should be looking to break a base, or at the very least make some sort of aggressive play in this game. They're going to try to go for the Shaker in mid, but that is going to fail off of a well-timed Fissure from the Shaker. It's going to be bottom lane where they're going to find Taku. Ice Blast is going to land chain stunned up pretty perfectly. Timbersaw has no chance there, and he's going to take a fall. Down for 45 seconds, but Noobs R Us is in the base of UG. Where are their TPs? They're all going to quickly arrive, but it's not going to be fast enough because the Mantis-style illusions will finish off the range racks. So looks like it might be close. No, the range racks is going to survive. But still, I mean, UG, they can't get anything done off of these kills just because Anti-Mage is Anti-Mage.
Yeah, it's really not. He was a little bit indecisive which barracks he wanted to go for. He started hitting off on that melee barracks, but if he went for the range barracks, he would have ensured it fell. But if that happens once again, even if he doesn't commit, like he can just summon the Manta Illusions and throw them into the base if there's creeps at their tier 3, or where their tier 3 once stood, and we'll be able to take it. It honestly doesn't matter. He's almost doubling up the Morphling's net worth, which is one of the biggest problems with this matchup, or at least I would say, is that antimage just farms so much faster than Morph. Currently, Jericho, tagged by a Viper Strike, is forced to throw a Fissure and try to run, but that's just not a thing he can do. Jericho's going to be given the rundown. Ice Breath from the high ground is going to give an assist to the Jakiro, if nothing else. And with that pickoff, going Roshan's quite a bit easier for TWGI. They'll throw antimage inside the pit. He'll bash down Roshan with the Bloodlust. And right now, Eden Gaming need everybody else in position in order to take this.
Well, Tex is currently hidden to the enemy team. Ice Blast is going to come in, so 2D know that they're being spotted. However, they don't know that they're going to be spotted in multiple ways. Batrider's Firefly is going to time out, and it might not matter because, yeah, it looks like they're going to fall back from Roshan. So 2D, they need to go within the next 15 seconds. Otherwise, they're going to be in some serious trouble right now. UG, the Earthshaker, is respawning. Tex is going to know exactly what's going on because Gabby's going to jump straight in. He's going to get stunned first. He's going to get the split off barely. And now he's going to cause a little bit of havoc. However, he doesn't have any backup. Taku is going to be dragged back. Tex is going to Firefly him up to the high ground into no man's land. Actually, Batrider's in more trouble than the Timbersaw is. Timbersaw is going to get the kill, in fact. And Roshan is going to fall. Killed by the Dire, picked up by Benyaz. However, it might not be going their way as 2D is going to be cleaning up pretty much everyone. Noobs are us still in the middle of this Roshan pit. It's going to go to town onto this Brewmaster. Ice Blast is not going to connect onto the Anti-Mage either. Blinks out just in time. Benyaz still with the Roshan in his inventory. Here comes Jericho for a fissure onto what that was a random illusion. He sure got that illusion, but Icon is still being chased down by Benyaz. Another Ice Path, which will also connect onto pretty much no one until Baka runs into it. Icon is going to take an Earn Charge and then, well, dodge an Enchant Totem, but he will not be able to dodge right click, nor will he be able to dodge the Fissure. Here comes Taku, though. He's going to annihilate the Ancient Apparition. Now he's thinking about going for Jericho. Anti-Mage is all the way back in base. He really needs to be helping out his friendly Timbersaw right now. Timbersaw, I don't really know why he's running away from this Earthshaker. Should not be scared of this hero at this point in time, especially with Noobs or Us incoming. But UG, they do take down the Roshan. They do steal the Aegis of the Immortal. It was picked up by the Morphling, and it was also used. So overall, not too terrible for UG.
Yeah, it's actually really good for them, especially since the Morphling was able to collect pretty big. In that last fight, is now not being doubled up by the enemy Anti-Mage. Is only like 6,000 gold behind, which is still pretty bad. Yeah, AM's last item, it looks like it's going to be a Monkey King bar for Noobs RS, which I think is pretty necessary. The mischance coming out from Drunken Haze as well as just from Brewmaster's passives usually enough to force that out. They're going to go on the Timbersaw again. And I've seen this story before, but this time they don't have an HF or Ice Blast flying through. As he's dead, and he's going to be able to turn on attacks. The last who might save Batrider's life, but he's holding the Timbersaw behind him. Will to be able to focus it down, they sure as hell will. But now Anti-Mage jumps in, gets the Mana Void off onto Benyaz. It's going to do a pretty significant chunk of damage. BKB comes out, now bashing up Gabby, looking to kill him off. He doesn't have the complete Monkey King bar, so he's still missing a couple of these auto attacks. Force Staff forward, but the Blink is going to be too much for him to survive. Fire Blast onto Tex, Force Staff forward from the Ongujai. Yule Scepter is going to be a little bit nice for the Batrider delay. Looking for the Blink out, he'll be able to find it. Looking for a TP, he's also going to be able to stick that landing. As 2D, it's just going to be a 1-for-1 trade.
And man, I mean, Noobs or Us did so much damage there, had the BKB, but just couldn't deal with that mischance of Brewmaster. Against Brewmaster, if you are a right-clicking carry, you need an MKB, pretty much non-negotiable. Otherwise, your damage is going to be cut down to 0 up. At the same time, we're going to see Soji jump down by Tex, but who's jumping on who? The Viper is going to withstand through much of this. Jericho's going to block off the retreat, however. Getting Fissure onto 2. Noobs or Us is going to be funneled between the Jakiro and the rest of the team, so he can't actually get in close. He's going to go for Tex regardless, and he will take that kill down, but he's dropping pretty low. Jericho, in the meantime, is being chased down by Taku. There's not much of a chance with the Earthshaker here, however, he will get a pretty nice slam onto Noobs or Us. This might shatter him. No, it won't. No, actually, it will. Anti-Mage dies in the base, and that's going to be a huge pickoff from UG. Now they're going to try to chase forward for Taku. I don't think they quite have enough damage to kill off this Timbersaw, and they won't. But they kill off the Anti-Mage, and that's the power of the Ancient Apparition right there.
Yeah, it really is. Anti-Mage. Oh, that's why he died. Okay, that last tick, I thought he wouldn't die to it, but he tread switched, giving him more effective strength without adding the HP, so he died.
Man,
End of story.
Is that really what happened?
I think so. I'm gonna have to watch
200 something, and maybe just the math killed him. Maybe it was the strength treads.
I think so. I thought Spell Shield would have been enough. I'm gonna have to watch the replay for that one, but he did tread switch when he was blinking around.
Okay, so in case anyone is wondering, when you strength tread or when you are ice blasted, your HP cannot go up unless you're Terrorblade. And then when you switch to strength treads, the amount of HP you have doesn't go up, but your max HP goes up, which means that you are falling below the shatter threshold. So if that is exactly what happened, then Antimage pretty much dug his own grave. If not, then, well, he was dead anyway, and there's nothing he could have done.
Yeah. I wish that we had, like, the instant replay function when you're in this, because I'd want to watch that again. Like, I'm actually gonna watch this replay afterwards, because that's really interesting to me. If he could have survived if he just didn't tread switch.
He's too good for his own good, man. Like, any random noob maybe would have survived, but no, not him. He's playing too well. And now with ult Tex, he's going to run to Taku. Catches him mid-timber chain. That's actually pretty sweet. But Taku's still very tanky. He's going to survive for most of this. Throws out a chalk room, but he's still taking way too much damage. Needs a timber chain out there, but gets frozen in place. Cold Feet is going to shut down the Has Escape. Brewmaster's going to take him down, but Batrider is going to be the trade. Now they're going to go on to Icon. Here comes the Morphling. With the Eye of Scott, he's going to obliterate the Jakiro. Where is the Anti-Mage? He's respawned, but he's a little bit too far away from this fight. Maybe 2D can bait UG into a little bit more of a fight, and it looks like they will be successful in doing so. Ogre Magi is going to dodge an Ice Blast. Now Noobs are going to jump in and assassinate the Ancient Apparition, then the Earthshaker to follow. Now looking towards Benyaz and or Gabby. Manta-style illusions freaking everywhere, but Noobs are Us fighting pretty on par with everyone else. Is forced to blink out in the end because he just doesn't have the HP to survive. Now Soji focused down by Benyaz. The Eye of Scotty going to town. Triple kill for the Morphling. Anti-Mage is home free, but the rest of his team is dead. UG scrap a good fight out of pretty much nothing just because they get good initiation.
Yeah, and this is kind of the issue I was talking about earlier on in the draft. At this point in the game, in a vacuum, like Benyaz up against an Anti-Mage, even if they're fully 6-slotted, it's a pretty even fight. And with Anti-Mage having more items than Benyaz does on the Morphling, he should, in theory, be winning them. But just because Union Gaming are able to pick apart the enemy team with like a blinking Batrider, blinking Earthshaker, blinking Brew, and 2D don't have anything to counteract that or to rival that in initiation power, it seems to be going their way, even though they're fighting up against an incredibly farmed AM.
Right, and AM is almost at the 6-slot status. Like, he has maybe Travels to buy, an Abyssal Blade to purchase, and then that's pretty much it. Whereas for the Morphling, he's picked up his Eye of Scotty. He still has a TP Scroll slot to fill. He still has a Ring of Aquila to sell, which he just did. The Morphling has a lot more room to grow, and he's going to go for lifesteal. As far as dueling with the Anti-Mage, he's not going to have the benefit of bashing. That might just be enough for the Anti-Mage to outright win any duels he comes into with the Morphling. But lifesteal, and as far as how long these fights have been going on, is going to be huge for Benyaz. And he's 2,000. He has 2,000 gold in his pocket. He's not too far away from a completed Satanic. I mean, maybe a little bit further away if he wants to save for buyback, which he should. But still, the Morphling is slowly starting to catch up with this Anti-Mage. Like, he's still 5,000 gold behind, but it just feels like it's not 5,000 gold anymore.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Timbersaw, although he was doing a whole heap of damage, and he still is, don't get me wrong, it just doesn't seem to be doing enough, since he doesn't have like a Scythe to back that up or a BKB to survive in the fights. 2D just seems to be falling a little bit too often. He gets picked off while he's pushing out lanes alone. Smoked up with the rest of his team, however. 2D looking to find a jump, and it looks like they will do so onto the Earthshaker. Eul Scepter, Ice Path, and with the Anti-Mage right-clicking, it's going to be Earthshaker down in a heartbeat. Double damage rune on Anti-Mage is pretty ridiculous, especially with Bloodlust. This might be 2D's chance to look for even more. Only about, I don't know, not very long, actually, on that double damage rune left, but it doesn't matter. They should be able to put some pressure onto the high ground.
They're going to slide up to the top side, and that will be range Raxes taken pretty much in one hit. Also, well, Noobs R Us is going to get lassoed back. Tex can't bring him back that far, however. Not going to use his Force Staff for whatever reason. Now Tex is going to get bashed down. Will save himself with the Eul Scepter, but I don't think he's actually going to survive this entirely. No, he will not. Anti-Mage is going to drop him with the Mana Void. Viper now up into the air is going to awkwardly fall down into the claws of the Morphling, and he's going to be focused down. The Benyaz Morphling, though, not attacking very quickly. Now being hit with the Liquid Fire is going to be attacking even slower. It will be enough to kill off the Viper in the end. However, Benyaz being focused down by Noobs R Us. Ice Blast will connect onto Taku and Noobs R Us. That's exactly what they need, but Benyaz is going to fall, has to buy back if they actually want to hold this. Gabby is not in his split form. He's going to get bashed down by the Anti-Mage, who's going to shatter in the end. Here comes the Morphling once again. Is going to make a short replicate jump forward, looking to go for Taku. And it looks like the Timber Chain not going to put him in safe distance. Benyaz is going to continue the chase. Will wait for him over the Ice Path. Now looking for Taku still. But between Blink Dagger and Timber Chain, they just can't get the chase going anymore. Still, they bring down Anti-Mage. They are forced to buy back with the Morphling. But maybe UG can call that a victory?
It's a victory, but only in the sense that they held high ground. Like, losing a ranged barracks isn't very significant, but if you look at that fight recap, that's insane. Brewmaster losing 2,000 gold and Morphling losing 1,500. It's only a win if they're able to force out the anti-mage buyback afterwards, and let's see if they're going to be successful.
Seems like they might, and they are going to take a courier, so that's a nice little bonus on top of all of that. But Antimage, he's 46 seconds away from respawning. Benyaz, he's pretty big, and he's going to force out the fortification with backdoor protection still up, I believe. So that's a pretty nice little win for UG as well. Judy, they're going to have to make a pretty nice defense without their anti-mage or just start a full-on fight. There's a split on the Brewmaster. He's going to look to use that one. He's going to drop pretty low, and there's the split. Benyaz in the BKB is now going to go straight onto Icon. He's going to get mech'd up, but this Jakiro is not going to last very long, even with the Yule Scepter. In the meantime, Brewmaster just causing havoc in the back lines, not actually doing too much damage onto Taku because he's so tanky, but now they have the Morphling focusing him. Taku has a Timber Chain, but he can't quite get it off. He's going to go down. Anti-Mage is alive in 10. Timbersaw is going to straight buy back into this game. Benyaz now, without the BKB, is going to be forced to get himself out of there. Yule Scepter onto the Timbersaw, going to delay the chase a little bit. Benyaz needs to replicate outwards. I don't know where his replicate is. It's over towards the mid lane. Straight TP out from here. Looks like he will be able to survive. Everyone else from UG will also manage to retreat. They don't force the buyback on the Anti-Mage, but they force the buyback on the Timbersaw. It's still pretty good, but now they have to face the crackback because Anti-Mage is still alive.
Yeah, and he's completely six-slotted. He will very soon have buyback and Abyssal Blade gold. He's probably not going to buy the Abyssal for this push, but pretty much Noobs R Us is at his peak. Bloodlusted Anti-Mage with these items is incredibly scary, although his sustain in the fights is very limited. They're going to go for the ranged barracks in mid. It looks like Anti-Mage is getting close to being able to backdoor that. Now with the creeps showing their face close enough, they'll be able to drop them incredibly low. That's your glyph down, and now the melee barracks up top are completely exposed. Lasso up from Tex, going to pull back the Anti-Mage for staff. It's not enough to really get them enough distance. They clean up the Viper on the backlines, but Anti-Mage turns onto Tex with the BKB. Will be able to bring him down. Now focus down the barracks a little bit, but can't do much. Buyback forced out by the Batrider, and that's going to be enough to get everybody out of the base. Wait for him forward, clap on a Snoopy. Looks like Snoopy's going to fall, turns for a Fire Blast, multicast twice on the Gaddy. Not enough to save his life or take anybody with him or even get close. Anti-Mage gets a bounty run on the way out, but in the end, that's, I don't know, pretty much just nothing happening. They lose a couple of supports here or there. Now it's Union Gaming's turn to snap back.
Well, Batrider was forced to buy back there, and he actually didn't do anything with it. He is going to be alive for this Roshan fight, it looks like, and I don't really know if there's going to be a fight. As UG, they have the numbers advantage right now. They have the Batrider on their side. They're going to go straight into the Roshan pit and be happy with that. Judy, they do take not much of anything. The range racks in the mid lane is still surviving, albeit barely. They're in fact going to lose Roshan. Maybe they're going to get something after that, but it's going to be bottom lane where Jericho is going to initiate onto two, just keeping them stun locked. Icon getting dropped very low to the Shaker. Now Taku is going to be dragged back. He has a Timber Chain. He's going to pop the BKB and try to get the hell out of there, but I have Scotty's slow is pretty darn persistent. Taku needs another Timber Chain out right about now, and he will get a lot of distance, but Jericho with the wall not quite up yet, and the wall will land onto Taku, but I think he has a free pass out of there. He's going to get thrown up into the air, has another Timber Chain, but he doesn't have anywhere to go. Timbersaw is down for another 87 seconds. Anti-Mage, he's nowhere near this fight. Maybe UG with his Aegis Cheese can look to breach the base of 2D, but it's going to be very difficult for them if they do decide to go for that. I don't know. Maybe they should have to defend.
Yeah, I don't know. This is such a back and forth game. Both teams take a fight, then they lose a fight, then they take another one afterwards. Morphling getting close to his next major item. Anti-Mage is completely capped out. He's going to Abyssal Benyaz trying to kill him with the Mana Void. It's enough. My goodness, that assassination power.
I did not see that one coming, man. I did not see that one coming. That was 1,800 damage over the course of, what, 3 seconds?
Yeah, he didn't have time to pop the cheese. I'm very interested to see like how much damage that Mana Void actually did. But that was insane. Without a Lincoln Sphere, I suppose it's fairly easy for you to do that. Let's see.
Well, I mean, Morphling doesn't have buyback, so he's down for a minute and a half. UG
that
is going
Void
to get the lasso onto Noobs R Us, but there is no follow-up here whatsoever. He's going to just pop the BKB, jump back to the mid lane, try to go for Raxes. It's going to be Soji to take the focus of the Brewmaster in the meantime. He will be dropping right now, and Anti-Mage right back up into the air. His illusion's not quite doing enough to kill off the Raxes. Jericho looking to chain some the AM. They take the range Raxes, but is that really all they're going to get? They could reinitiate after the split is done, but not if they lose too many heroes. Snoopy is going to be focused down now. He has nowhere to run. He has nowhere to hide. He's going to be dropping. Here comes Taku, however. Echo Slam from Jericho is going to stun the Timbersaw, but not do too much damage. Will be dropped by the random Ignite. Taku, in the meantime, is going to zip through, kill off the Ancient Apparition, and throw the Brewmaster up into the air. Noobs Are Us with the Abyssal Blade stunning right onto the Brewmaster. Has an Aegis, but I don't think that's going to be too relevant right now. Tex, in the meantime, dropping pretty low. Taku is going to give chase on him, but it's buyback from the Ancient Apparition throughout his Ice Blast already. Noobs Are Us still surviving, although I think he might actually shatter to this one. He will. That's actually pretty bad for the Chudy side, but he does have a buyback. He's going to expend that immediately and then buy Boots of Travels. Taku also is going to die, and he does not have a buyback. Antimage, he's the only one to survive from Chudy. And UG, they have 20 seconds until the Morphling is up. Do you buy Travels? Do you try to go for it? Finally, some Raxes have been taken, but it's not enough for Chudy to outright win the game.
Yeah, it really isn't. At this point, one lane of barracks, it's nice, but UG can deal with it, even though they don't have the best heroes to counter push up against Mega Creeps, or even the Super Creeps. I'm not exactly sure what they're called now. Yeah, they are Super Creeps, huh? I'm so good. But either way, it's just really scary. If Antimage dies in the next 6 minutes, it's probably going to be game.
Yeah, 2D, they absolutely cannot fight without their Antimage. And I would have thought that UG can't fight without their Morphling either, but they did a surprisingly good job. I think we have Yule Scepters to thank. I think we have the Brewmaster Cyclone to thank for that. I mean, they were technically fighting, what, 4v5, but with so many Yule Scepters, so many ways to just interrupt the enemy, there was just so much time where they were just randomly burning by having heroes randomly up into the air, and they managed to hold without their Morphling. Morphling still falling pretty far behind the Antimage. In fact, the deficit is all the way up to 7,000. But Benyaz is still doing okay, and the Antimage, though he is holding on to a hell of a lot of net worth, that gold isn't actually doing anything anymore. There's actually nothing else that he can buy. I mean, maybe he wants to sell something in his inventory, but that seems fairly unlikely. Maybe even getting rid of the BKB is worth it at this point for another heart or something like that. But yeah, for Antimage, he's more or less done, whereas Benyaz, he still has time to grow. UG, they've lost 1.5 sets of Raxes. It's bad, but it's not a death sentence.
Yeah, I would consider replacing the BKB with a heart, and maybe even the butterfly with, or the Battle Fury with a butterfly. He might have to keep a career around so that he can push out waves fast enough. I'm not exactly sure. We'll just have to see. But pretty much he's not getting any stronger, I think, is the bottom line. Even if he does replace items, the leap in power is a lot less than what a 6,000 gold item should be. Yeah, both of those Mana Voids in the last couple of fights hit incredibly hard. Pretty much 1,000 damage after resistance. There's going to be an Echo Slam on the sidelines. They found themselves Taku, but the Earthshaker can't do enough damage by himself. The BKB's popped by the Timbersaw on the sidelines. They're going to jump in. The Ancient Apparition Ice Blast lands on the 2. BKB popped by Viper. Can't do any damage in this. Mana Void will finish off the Morphling. Now Morphling forced to buy back. Doesn't have Boots of Travel, and it's going to take a little bit before he can get back into this fight if he really wants to. Actually, no, he ends up buying those and will be able to get back in here. He is going to get in the Adaptive Strike and kill off the Viper. They will go for this tier 3 tower and subsequently into the barracks. I believe he actually had those Boots of Travel beforehand, so I'm completely talking garbage. But either way, Glyph comes out from TDI, and for now the fight has come to a little bit of a slow point. Tier 3 tower is going to stop. Now Waveform over the top. They're going for Snoopy. The Adaptive Strike hits like a truck, and he is going to be able to bring him down. Buyback from the Ogre Magi. Aghanim Scepter never going to be completed on this guy. Timbersaw is going to throw to Chakram. Lands onto 4, but with no follow-up afterwards. They're going to lose to Tier 3 tower. Let's see. Fire Blast and Gabby. Doesn't multicast, but now with the Antimage, he should be able to bring down this Brewmaster. They are right-clicking pretty darn hard, and they will be able to bring him down. He has buyback. Can't get it off, or can't get back into this fight. Ghost Scepter is going to keep Ancient Apparition alive. That's the Antimage down. 123 seconds on the backlines. He wasn't able to blink out in time. Yule Scepter onto the Bat Rider, trying to get as much as they can, but it's the Ogre and the Timbersaw up against the world. Snoopy dropping low. If he dies, he's also down without buyback. He's down for 93. They will start focusing on Taku. Taku's the only one surviving. Buyback from the Brewmaster. They can end this game now. Looking for Taku to kill. Benyaz isn't doing enough damage to do it, but they'll go for these melee barracks. Honestly, you might consider going for Throne, because I think Union Gaming have done it.
Well, there's no Antimage for 90. They have a Jakiro and Timbersaw. Benyaz, not too healthy, but he does have a Helm of the Dominator, so every single time creeps spawn, he will be able to get just a little bit more HP. there is no initiation power right now from Union Gaming. Their Brewmaster is in the base, having to play defensively. Benyaz is going to get jumped in the bottom lane. Fissure connecting onto Taku. That's going to be Ancient Apparition ultimate also landing. Baka might actually just get this kill if no one touches the Timber Saw, and it looks like that might just be lethal. Tex is going to be Force Staff out as Soji is right on the front line. Is going to try to man fight up against Benyaz. It's going to be a close one for sure, but Benyaz not attacking too fast. Jericho with an Echo Slam is going to hold out Icon, but it's not going to be enough to kill off the Viper. However, Morphling does get to survive off of that. Jericho does give his life in the end, and it looks like everything else is going to settle out as is. UG, they're not going to lose any other heroes. They take one set of Raxes from the 2D side. They have the Bat Rider deep within enemy lines, spotted out by the Courier, actually trying to just get vision for the Well to start firing, but that's not going to happen. UG, they kill off the Antimage without buyback. They take a set of Raxes, but much like how 2D have been taking the UG's base, this is not enough for UG to call it a win. They still have a tier 2 to deal with over in the mid lane. And their Morphling, I mean, he's certainly doing quite a bit, but certainly not enough either. 2D managed to hold and take acceptable losses, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Union Gaming just, I don't know, didn't get enough, but it's still a win for them. This Morphling, he's just not hitting hard enough, I feel. I don't know, he's hitting for 300 a pop, and with the Mantalations, that's pretty significant, but it doesn't feel significant enough. The armor on Timbersaw is going to mean that he's taking next to nothing, even with no reactive armor factored in. And Antimage, he died there, but he's also not really being dropped down by the Morphling by himself. He can't really pick a fight with anybody.
And look at the Morphling's item build right now. He has an ultimate orb in his inventory. This is not a damage item. It's actually only Lincoln Sphere that he has left to build with an ultimate orb, but they might get the jump onto Noobs or Us, and they will. Benyaz is going to jump forward as well. Noobs or Us, if he dies right now, that is going to be disastrous for 2D, but he does blink out. Ice Blast will also miss, and Noobs or Us will be able to survive. However, Ogre Magi, I don't think is going to be as lucky. Once again, it's going to be him taking the bullet for his friendly. That's going to be Benyaz getting a kill. They're going to try to go for a top lane push with Antimage still alive. I don't really know if they can do this. Antimage actually has... No, never mind. I thought he sold his boots. He actually just dropped them. UG, they have a whole bunch of power up on this top lane, but will it be enough to actually crack the base? Will it be enough to take Raxes? They don't have their full 5-man lineup here, so it looks like they won't, but is Morphling really going to back off into a Lincoln Sphere with this ultimate orb? That doesn't seem like the best course of action. I think, I don't know, a Daedalus or something, MKB seems just better.
Honestly, instead of Lincoln Sphere, I would prefer Scythe if he really is stuck on an ultimate orb item, but I think just going for raw damage is the right choice.
Yeah, because Lincoln Sphere at this point is not going to give you damage, and that's what you need as Benyaz. Though he may be dropping low, just having that... I mean, it's going to block a Viper Strike, I suppose, which is nice, because it's kind of crippling the Morphling, but it's not enough, I'd say, to warrant one of your very precious item slots. Oh, and Bat Rider's going to get the jump in. It's going to be onto Soji. The Morphling is not quite in the base yet. There he goes, right onto the Viper, and it's not going to be quite enough to kill him off. Now Benyaz is getting stunned up by Noobs or Us. He's going to not kill off the Morphling. In fact, he replicates out of there. The Viper is somehow still alive. However, this will be enough to shatter him. Benyaz still trying to get away from this Antimage, who is frozen in place now. Jericho is going to put some serious damage to Noobs or Us, and he's down once again for a minute and a half without any buyback. 2D, they don't have any buybacks right now. They have 3 heroes surviving. Benyaz is not too healthy right now. He has morphed a lot of his stats into strength, but they will maybe find Icon is going to get thrown time and time again up into the air. He will get himself out of there, but the Timbersaw might not be as lucky. He's turned into a sheep, and he's going to be dropped. Timbersaw does have a buyback, which is much desperately needed from 2D. But UG, they're not too healthy right now. I don't know if they can keep fighting. Taku is right back on the front lines. He's going to try to go for the Brewmaster, and he will annihilate him with one Timber Chain through. Icon still slowing everyone down with that Liquid Fire. With the Timber Saw zipping every which way, Spider-Man is in the house. The Liquid Fire is once again going to land onto Baka. Jericho, they're going to give chase and kill off the Ancient Apparition, although with the Eul Scepter will slow it down. You can't stop Taku. He's going to kill off both those heroes without any buyback. Morphling, where is he? He's off to the side. Can't effectively reinitiate on this. Jericho, in the meantime, fighting up against Taku, is going to be fighting to the death. Force Staff outwards. Tex looking for a Cyclone or a Lasso or something, but he's not going to find anything. It looks like that should just about be it. Taku just being a one-man army for 2D. And, well, their base is in shambles. They lose at tier 4, but they still hold the top lane, and no one has won this game just yet.
Yeah, it is going to be Lincoln Sphere for Morphling. I can't say that I'm a fan. He does have it completed, but this is probably the most do-nothing build on Morphling ever. Maybe he decides to replace the Helm of the Dominator with some hard-hitting damage item. He'll lose lifesteal for sure, or lose lifesteal, sure, but I still think it's more worthwhile to actually be able to do the damage. Surviving these fights is being less and less relevant. It's the other heroes to really pull their weight, and that's pretty surprising at this point in the game.
Yeah, the Shaker, and especially that Ancient Apparition, who somehow has found himself a Sheepstick and pretty much a core hero's worth of farm. He's just one of the most relevant heroes in the map. I would say, like, you could lose a Bat Rider, that's fine. You could even lose your Brewmaster, that's not the best. But, I mean, if you lose the Ancient Apparition, it's just all over. UG, they're going to stalk out this Roshan, which Noobs R Us is pretty much doing by himself at the moment. Tex is going to throw some Napalm over the edge, and he should know exactly what's going on with the Firefly. He does know. This represents a possibility for a steal from UG. However, Noobs R Us is going to jump on the wrong one. Bat Rider is going to get folks down by so much. Now Tex is going to jump in. What are you doing, Tex? There's nothing there for you. That is probably the worst decision the Bat Rider could have made. He will not die, so he's going to still be alive to maybe jack the Roshan, but that pretty much cut out all of his possibility for actually crashing this fight. Aegis is going to be reclaimed. Gabby is going to jump in, try to go for Taku with the Sheepstick. He has a split still, but I don't know if that's enough. No, Jericho, Force Staff. It's not going to put him to the low ground. It's not going to do anything. That Echo Slam. Now Tex is going to fight up against Taku. He's going to drag him down to the low ground. Are you really going to do that? Where's the Morphling in all of this one? He's right in the middle of everything, but he can't quite kill off Soji. In fact, he will try. He will get that kill down, but Antimage, he's still fighting to his heart's content. Is hit with that Shatter effect, so he has to be very careful, but he's still fine. It's going to be only one hero to die thus far, with Tex dropping very, very low. Benyaz is in the middle of everything. He's going to try to go for Icon with the help of Gabby. That will be able to kill the dragon. Now onto Taku, they're going to try to go, but Noobs R Us has rejoined this fight. He's not going to be able to land hits onto Morphling because he has replicated all the way off to the left side. Noobs R Us now getting hexed up, landing a huge Mana Void onto 2, going to get a triple kill instantly off of that Mana Void. You have to respect that ultimate. Now Benyaz trying to TP out, will make it out to safety. But UG, they've lost 3 heroes. They still have 2 very important heroes still alive in the Morphling and Ancient Apparition. However, AA doesn't have a way out of here, doesn't have a TP scroll. He's going to play some games with Noob R Us, but honestly, this Ancient Apparition is 100% screwed at this point. He's going to throw an Ice Blast, but that's not going to do anything. He's down. He does have buyback. He might be able to cancel off the TP. Yes, he will. Antimage is not going to be able to travel out of there. He has a blank, of course, so it's not going to matter too much, but he's not going to be able to split push top lane as fast as he would have. This game is going to continue. Benyaz is still alive, but we saw in that last fight, he suffers from lack of damage.
Honestly, at this point, I think you start considering, like, I don't know, just going for a YOLO damage item. The BKB, it's kind of nice to have inside the fights, but at 5-second duration, it's not really enough to accomplish anything. Ideally, he'd be able to sell that off, but I don't know. I think you just need to ship it for something that's actually going to make you click hard in the next fight. Maybe even start considering Rapier. Like Satanic, replace BKB with Rapier. I'm not even sure what Morphling should do. Just him alone can't do much. He has the Bat Rider, and that's going to be a useful tool. And have the Earthshaker in 10 seconds, and the Ancient Apparition also has buyback if stuff really hits the fan. So I think they'll be able to defend, but the chances are a lot slimmer than that last fight.
Mid lane 2D, they're going to shove that wave in. The Antimage is going to make short work out of top lane as well. Bat Rider has been interrupting those attempts every single time. Looks like it's going to be the Shaker's job this time, but it doesn't work quite well enough. Illusions are tanky enough to put some serious damage into the melee racks. Benyaz will clean that up in short order. And 2D and UG, this is maybe going to be the setup for the last fight. Jakiro's split pushing down bottom as best he can with the Macro Pyre. UG, they have their full force in 10 seconds. Though they are going to be facing up against Aegis on Timbersaw. I think there's also cheese on someone. No, there's no cheese on anyone, it looks like. So just Aegis. That's fine. Tex is looking for initiation. He has to get Noobs R Us, though, with an Ice Blast as well. Who's he going to go for? Bat Rider. Are you going to go in? No, it's actually going to be the 2D side to jump in first. Antimage is going to start this fight. Where's the lasso? Still, Tex is not going to be able to launch it. They do Echo Slam and kill off the Viper in a hurry. They get the lasso onto Noobs R Us, but it's not going to be relevant enough. They're going to also focus down the Timbersaw. He's going to pop right back up to the Aegis. Noobs R Us, and the BKB is taking so much damage from everyone. He doesn't have an HP, nor does he have life, so he's going to go down. He does have buyback this time. In the meantime, Timbersaw back from the dead from the Aegis. He's being chased down by Benyaz and Baka both. He will be able to Timber Chain and be just fine, but in the meantime, it's going to be the Jakiro to fall to the Earthshaker and everyone else as well. They're going to keep chasing after the Timbersaw, and they will be able to bring him down. The sustained chasing of Ive Scotty, too powerful. And now UG, they've defended their base. They're going to crack back down mid. You see the straight line being drawn by the AA. Antimage and Ogre. Do those heroes have what it takes to defend this?
I don't know, and I didn't know about like Union Gaming taking that defense. It just seems that like this game is so back and forth. Usually, looking at a net worth and gold graph at this point in the game is pretty useless, but this tells the story perfectly. Like, look at that. You can't get a closer graph at 63 minutes, and you can't get a more topsy-turvy one either.
game is confirmed to be broken, guys. Antimage has to buy back or they will lose the game right now. UG, they also have the Ancient Apparition closing in quickly. Need him close for the sheep, but need him far away for the Ice Blast. Are they going to ping out for the throne? Looks like they will. They'll bulldoze their way right through the melee Raxes. Antimage is forced to buy back at this point. Viper will be up as well. They'll lose the tier 4 and the melee Raxes. But is it going to be GG outright? Gabby does not have a split. They're going to get the lasso onto Noobs or Us. Where's the Ice Blast? They actually do have a Sheep Stick. Noobs or Us. He doesn't have a buyback and he's going to go down. Here comes Soji, but he's BKB. He doesn't do anything. GG is called. UG, they've done it. Oh my god, this was some game, guys. The game of 322 is real, but in the end, UG prevail. And it was so close for 2D. They played the best game that they have today, but it just wasn't enough.
My goodness, that must be such a disheartening day for 2D all around. Like, they just went 0-4 in every single one of their games. This one, as you said, was the closest, and they did have a pretty decent showing, but in the end, just like 1 or 2 misplays here and there can really cost you the game. When you're like the only one with significant amounts of farm, I say that Taku has a decent amount, but his impact was very delayed. The Antimage was really the only hero that mattered. If you die once, it's pretty much over, and it just happened one too many times. So that's going to be Union Gaming prevailing 2-0 over 2D.
All right, guys, so that is going to be the end of today on HeflaTV 2. Do I really have to sing now? Because I really don't want to.
I think you do. By technicality, I would have been the one to sing, but I wasn't the one on the 1,000-viewer stream, so...
Yeah, that's true. I have to reward the people, so... I don't know what I'm going to be singing. I could do whatever. I don't even give a shit. I don't care at this point. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten dinner yet. Whatever. Yeah, so maybe we're going to have one song of karaoke, and the stream is going to go down for 2 minutes while that is being set up. But other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed the cast. I'm Mike Loris. I've been joined by Grandis V for these games. If you enjoyed the cast, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook at HeflaTV, or, you know, all of the individual casters are up in the title. Just a little bit of a break, guys, then we'll be settling what's going to happen next. So don't go anywhere. There is still more, although no more Dota.